Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hi, this is George Swift from Bigger, Brighter, Bolder, and welcome to the Leveling Up podcast. The Leveling Up podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development, and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else, as always, to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. How to 4 times your revenue in the next 2 years. I know it sounds like a bold claim. For some of you, maybe if you're into your big hype, it might not even sound like enough. Some of you might be thinking, I want a 10x this year. I want a 100x this year. Well, let's just bring it back to some reality here for a moment. Yeah, of course it's possible to 10x your business or 10x anything in a year. Most people don't, however. The truth of the matter is most people, they don't even 2 times in a year or 2 times in 2 years or 4 years or even 5 years. So I want to share with you a strategy. And it's a really top level strategy. I'm sure you're imagining that in this 20-minute episode, I'm unlikely to be able to give you an absolute blueprint on how to 4 times your revenue in the next 2 years. What I do want to give you, however, is an overview of where you need to focus that makes 4 times in 2 years really, really achievable. And I think if you take your current revenue right now, whatever it is, just think about it, get the number in your head, do some simple maths right now. I want you to 4 times that number. How does that feel to have that kind of revenue in 2 years? The chances are that number is pretty aspirational. The chances are that number is pretty motivational, and maybe even right now, it might even feel a very long way off. It might feel an impossible task. The purpose of this episode is to reframe that a little bit and to show you how 4 times in your current turnover in the next 2 years is really achievable. Not that everyone will do it, I get that, but I want you to step into the possibility that you could do it. And actually, whilst there's a lot of details that need to be put into the gaps, the overriding strategy that I'm going to share with you right now is one that is a pretty simple focus in order to keep you on track to achieving that end goal. So, top line, top picture, there are 2 things that you need to do. The first one I want you to think about right now is you need more business. Well, of course you need more business. That's obvious. You want to grow your business. So I don't know how you measure business right now. Do you measure it in terms of the number of clients that you have? Do you measure it in terms of the number of products that you sell, the number of hours that you deliver, or do you measure it in terms of pure revenue? So however you measure revenue, I want you to imagine, is it possible to double that in 2 years? Now, if you've got, 20 clients right now and you're doing 40 hours of delivery a week and you're still having to do your networking or sales stuff and your marketing, I understand how right now you're thinking, you know what, George, getting 2 times that is, I don't know where I'd fit them in. I can't do 80 hours a week in delivery because then you've also got to do the extra sales and everything else to achieve that. I just want you to sit there at the top level right now. Do you think it's possible over the next 2 years that you could continually grow your business to a point where you just had twice as many customers as you have right now, or you deliver twice as many hours as you do right now? And do you think it's possible over the next 2 years you could work out how to do that? Whether that was employing more staff or outsourcing some of the work that you're doing that means you're not doing the delivery that you could be doing. There's ways of doing this, right? How would you scale your business? We don't need to know right now. Right now, I just want you to step into the possibility that do you think that if I gave you twice as many customers today, it might break your business. But if we scaled up over the next 2 years, do you think you could solve the problems that would present themselves over that 2-year period that would enable you to be able to deliver twice as much as you are right now? If you're sitting in possibility, at the very least, you have to accept there's a possibility of that. The chances are, when you think about 2 years, 2 years is a long time. The chances are you'll be thinking, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. I don't know exactly how I would do it, but if I've got 50 clients, is it possible I get 100 clients? Or if I'm delivering 20 hours, Could I deliver 40? And if I can't deliver 40, could my business deliver 40? If I scaled my business, outsourced some stuff, hired some people, is that possible? Yeah, I can see that 2 years is a long amount of time. And it's certainly long enough in order to have that kind of growth. Now, what you need to do in order to do that is you need to sell more. Okay, now that's obviously a whole problem in and of itself. If you're selling 50 grand a year, you've got to sell 100 grand a year. Sounds simple, and it is simple at the top level. It's pretty straightforward. It's not easy to do, of course. So there's going to be some gaps you have to fill. Do you think it's possible that over the next 2 years you could fill those gaps so that you were a better salesperson? Now, you're not going to fill those gaps, go on 2 years of sales training and then suddenly deliver twice as much revenue in 2 years' time. What will happen is, you'll deliver a bit more revenue and you'll learn a bit more and you'll apply a bit more and you'll make some changes and tweaks. You invest in certain ways and certain people or skills or systems, processes, etc., and you'll solve that problem and you'll be able to sell a bit more and then you'll be able to sell a bit more and sell a bit more and you've got 2 years to build this up. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Is it really achievable? Yeah, I think it's really achievable for most small businesses. I believe it's a possibility for all small businesses. I think it's highly achievable for most of them. And I certainly think you there, statistically speaking, you have a very, very good chance that you could double the amount of business that you're doing in the next 24 months. Does that inspire you? I hope it does. Does it scare you? Well, possibly from where you are right now, but you've got 2 years to get over that. You've got 2 years to solve those problems, and those problems aren't going to all hit you tomorrow just because you decide that you want to double the amount of delivery you're doing. Those problems are going to come staggered over the next 24 months, and you'll have to solve them. Some are small, some are big. Some problems are going to be really soon, and some problems are going to be a little way off. But 2 years is a long time. And if you're constantly focused on that growth and you're constantly putting in goals and your strategies and tactics that enable you to fundamentally sell and deliver twice as much as what you are right now, in 2 years from now, you'll have a business that's doubling its turnover. That's half of the puzzle. The other half of the puzzle is this. Take your current prices right now. Do you believe it's possible that you could double your prices over the next 2 years? Now, this question I know sometimes sends people's minds screaming, shriveling into the darkest recesses of their brains. I get it. I'm charging 40 quid. That's the average price in my industry, my market sector. That's what people are paying right now. If I went to £80, then no one would buy it. Well, number one, that's not true. I promise you that's not true. I promise you that's not true. Number two, I understand it feels true. So the third thing is, well, how do we rectify that? Well, you could try and double your prices tomorrow. And I tell you now, I deliver workshops and content that enable small business owners just like you to do exactly that thing. I've more than doubled my prices overnight myself in my personal coaching. And when I have mentored and coached other businesses and all my success group members, they laugh every time I come out there and talk about doubling prices, because not only is it a challenge that I want you to accept, it's actually one that is absolutely, completely achievable. And I've helped many businesses double their prices overnight. Now, my challenge to you isn't to double your prices overnight, because that could be completely overwhelming and terrifying. I'm saying to you, over 2 years, do you think you could double your prices? If you're charging £50 an hour right now, could you get to £100 an hour in 2 years? Not tomorrow, in 2 years. Now, would your current customer that's paying you £50, are they likely to pay you £100? No, it's possible you're going to have to upgrade your client base to a client base that actually would pay that kind of money. It's possible that in order to attract that client base, you're going to have to change your marketing, you might have to change some branding, you might have to wrap your product up slightly differently, you might have to change some things in your business to be able to charge twice as much. But could you do that over 2 years? It's a long amount of time. 2 years in order to make the necessary changes that enable you to increase your prices over a 2 year period to twice what they are right now. Now, if you're charging 50 quid today, you're not going to do all these changes and then charge £100 in 2 years from now. What you'll do is you'll go from £50 to £60, maybe £75, and then maybe from £75 to £85, or maybe into £100. And it might take you 2 years to do it. Could you do it over 2 years? I'm telling you now, I believe that most small businesses could double their prices in way less time than that. And I keep saying that my challenge I always put out there, double them overnight. Are you going to be able to double your prices with your current client base? Maybe not, possibly not, probably not. Could you sell your services to a new audience? Could you sell to a new customer for twice what you're doing right now? If you had your positioning right, if your offering was right, if your marketing and your targeting and your sales was right, absolutely, I believe you could tomorrow. But I'm not going to ask you to do it tomorrow. I'm saying, could you do it over 2 years? And once again, if you're sitting in possibility and you're thinking about the amount of time that 2 years is, you might think it's a challenge, but you have to accept there's at least the possibility you could. You might even be sitting there right now thinking, actually, that doesn't seem that aggressive. If I was to consistently raise my prices over time, could I go from 50 to 100 in 2 years? Yeah, you probably could. Could I go from 100 to 200 in 2 years? Yeah, I think you could. 500 to 1,000, I think you could. The truth of the matter is, I truly believe, even if you're charging market rates right now, I still believe you can double your prices. Even if you're charging above market rates right now, I still believe you could double your prices. Now, I do a whole thing on this. I do a whole course, a whole program. I've got worksheets. I get my guys going through and everything else. It's too much to go into right now on this episode. However, I want to share with you that many people have doubled their prices in much, much, much shorter timescales. Some, as I said before, overnight. Now, it might not be that they raise their prices double overnight with their current audience, although some people have. You've got to manage that very carefully. That's a conversation for another day. But with new business, is it possible you could charge twice as much tomorrow? Yes, it's possible. You might not know how right now, but I promise you it's possible. And many people have done it. It requires a mindset shift. It can require a positioning shift. You might have to change your audience, who you're selling to. But fundamentally, it's been done many times before. It could be done. Could you take your current clients and over time build them up towards that price as well? Yes, you can. It's been done many times before. Yes, you could. Will you lose some of them? Almost certainly. Are you going to lose some of them anyway, even on the current pricing? Of course you are. Well, here's the thing. If I'm getting £100 for every client, then I could afford to lose half my client base, couldn't I? Because I'm still going to make the same revenue. Well, actually, here's the thing. You can afford to lose more than half your client base because actually profitability goes up. So I don't know what your cost per delivery is, per hour, per product, per service, per client. But let's say, for example, you charge £50 per hour and your overheads for that £50 per hour are £25. So it's £50 cost to you and you make £25 profit. If you raise your prices from £50 to £100, you've added £50 worth of profit. So now that client is £75 profit to you as opposed to £25. So in other words, you could lose 2/3 of your client base and you still have the same amount of profit, the same amount of money that you physically have in your business would be the same. Now, depending on what your business is, it might only be, 10% margins that you make, in which case you could afford to lose a lot more clients than just 50%. Maybe your margins are more like 90%, in which case, obviously, you can afford to lose a lot less. But you understand the basic premise. If I'm charging twice as much, if I lost half my client base, I would still have more profit than I had before, and I still have the same amount of revenue as I had before. Now, I'm not saying you could raise your prices by 100% overnight and even retain half of your client base. I'm not going to say that because I don't know your business. However, I promise you, it has been done. I tell people tread very carefully when raising prices with current customers because there will be fallout, almost certainly. But I do know someone that did this. They raised their prices 100% overnight with their clients. They gave them every opportunity to leave them and go their own way and find someone else. But they said, as of this date, this will be your new pricing. And you know what? They lost 10% of their client base. 10%. They doubled their prices. They way more than doubled their profit. And they only lost 10% of their clients. Is that going to be the same for you? I can't promise you that. But this isn't about telling you how to do it. I'm not even going to go into the details of what specifically you need to do. This is to get you to step into the possibility that it's possible. But I'm not even talking about doubling your prices overnight. I'm not talking about doubling your prices with your current client base. All those things might feel incredibly challenging to you. The reason I've shared those stories is because I want to get you into the possibility that you could do that. And it has been done, and you might be able to do it for yourself. But I want to use that pressure that I've put on that to then extend it over 2 years and say, right now, there's no panic, there's no rush. I'm going to give you 2 years to do that. Do you think it's possible you could double your prices with all your clients in the next 2 years? The chances are, yes, you could. In fact, it's highly probable you could. I'd go as far as saying almost certainly you could. Could you sell twice as much of what you're selling right now in the next 2 years? Possibly, at the very least. Probably, more likely. Almost certainty is probably actually where you're going to be. I think it's almost certain that you could double the amount that you're delivering, whether that's hours, products, services. I also believe you could sell that for twice as much. I also know for sure you would have to develop yourself, grow yourself. You're going to have to become a different business owner in that time. You're going to have to adjust your business over the same timescales, all those things. Yeah, of course, there's loads of gaps in this. It's not a strategy. It's not a tactic. It's an overview, right, of the two things you need to focus on in order to quadruple your turnover, your revenues in the next 2 years. So I want you just to sit with that for a moment. Sit with that possibility. Now, maybe, you're in the early days of your business and you're thinking, I want more than that. I'm only doing 25 grand in my business. 100 grand in 2 years doesn't feel like enough to me. I went to a Grant Cardone seminar and he was talking 10x. And I went to an XYZ person, they were talking 100x. And I went to XYZ and said, a millionaire this time next year, Rodney. I get it, right? So it's possible if you're getting into business right now, the thought of going from 25 to 100, if you've got big aspirations, right, it might not seem like a lot. But I'm willing to bet if you've been in business for a number of years now, and you realize how hard it is actually to grow a business and how you get so distracted in so many things, that it takes your eye off these two really simple top level focuses, that you don't actually get the growth that I'm sharing with you right now, but it is possible for you. And you're willing to probably sit there right now and say, you know what, 4 times what I'm doing right now, that seems like a pretty good gig right now. Taking your 50K business to 200, that seems like pretty good growth over the next 2 years to me. Taking your 100 grand business to 400 grand in 2 years. That seems like pretty good growth to me. Plot that on a curve and you'll see the exponential curve. Not only would it be pretty good as a result for the next 2 years, what kind of momentum would you be taking into year 3 and year 4 and year 5? I've seen businesses go from 50 to 100 plus grand in 12 months. I've seen those same businesses go from 100 grand to 200 grand in the next 12 months. I've seen businesses go from 150 to 350 in 1 year, then go from 350 to 750 the next year, from 750 to 1.5 million the year after that, and from 1.5 million to 2+ million the year after that. So even if you are sitting there thinking, oh, George, I went to this seminar and they said 10x, 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 and I'm doing 25 grand a year, but I want to be a millionaire. And okay, great. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I'm telling you now, if you had that kind of growth curve in your business, you'd be well happy in 5 years from now. It takes time. Most businesses in 5 years are barely turning over more than what they were turning over 5 years before. A 50K business goes networking, check into that networking group 2 years later, they're doing 50, 60K 2 years from now. Even a business that's trying to grow, they might be doing 50 grand today, check in with them a year from now and maybe they've got it to 60, maybe 70 grand. Check in with them 2 years from now, maybe they're hitting 100 grand in that period. That'd be an aggressive growth business. That's way more than what most small businesses achieve. However, if you took that curve and you went from 50 to 100 and 100 to 200, and let's say you kept the pressure on, went from 200 to 400, you went, fuck this, I'm going to keep going, and I went from the 400 to 800, Jesus, right? Where would you be in just 4 years? You're talking about being near on £1 million business. So is it possible? Yes, it is. Is it probable? That's down to you. The more you can hold your focus on those two things. I need to continually sell more and I need to continually sell for more. And these are two projects that take a priority in my business over everything else. All the marketing I'm doing is just so I sell more. All the systems and processes and anything else I'm bringing into my business is so I can deliver more. I then get a good accountant on board and work out the money. I get a good this on board and I use the money that I'm making in my business. I reinvest that money so I get more training, more skills, more abilities. I get some staff. I continue to scale my business. Is it possible to double your business in a year without changing anything apart from the revenue or apart from the price? It's possible. The chances are you're going to have to make changes. the entrepreneur behind the business will need to level up. The business itself will need to level up. There'll be some changes that need to happen around marketing and sales and strategies and tactics and goal setting and planning. There'll be some things that you need to grow into and learn and develop. And there's things you're going to have to invest in. Your time, your money, and your energy. But when we take a timescale like 2 years, which isn't very long, but equally is a long time, if you were looking back from 2 years in the future, looking back to this period in time, and you were doing 4 times the turnover that you're doing right now, and because you've been doubling your prices as well, massively more profitable than you are right now. Even though you'll be taking that profit, that extra profit, you'll be reinvesting some of that profit in to enable you to continue to scale your business. It's every likelihood that you would still be more profitable. Obviously, you'd have a lot more money, but even as a percentage, you could be a lot more profitable. One of the businesses that I've worked with in my mastermind, I remember she came to me, she had a £2,000 a month business, and she wanted to grow that business. I said, well, how much do you need? She said, well, really, I need £4,000. I could get by on £4,000. I said, right, okay, let's look at 8. And it freaked her out. And she came back with a plan, strategy, high level stuff on how to hit £8,000. I said, right, come back with a £16,000 one. £16,000 a month when she's doing £2,000 a month. But she took the challenge, she went away and she said, right, this is how I think it's possible. Now, there were some big gaps in her plan, her strategy, but guess what? You don't need to have a fixed strategy on how to go from £2,000 to £16,000 a month. You just need to go from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8. The rest of the piece of the puzzle, they'll come to you as long as you keep stepping up to your personal development, your entrepreneurial development, and your business growth. You'll find what's missing, you'll learn what you need to learn, and you'll adapt in ways you need to adapt in order to make that happen. But the bottom line is she stepped into possibility and had to go from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and 8 to 16. Today, right now, she's doing well over £30,000 a month. She's knocking on, I think, about $400,000 a year in revenue. And over that period of time, there's been years where there's been some growth, but not a lot of growth. And there's been other years where there's been a lot of growth. And it all depends on, obviously, the stresses of the business, the challenges you face, and how you adapt as you go along. But she's consistently grown her business over those years. In some years, it's been exponential growth. In other years, it's just been good, solid, stable growth. When you look back over a period of time, whether that's 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you look back and you can barely see where you started from, then you've done a good job. Regardless of what you were sold on in the book you read or the seminar you went to or the yee-haw, whoop-whoop bollocks that you've attended, regardless of what you may have bought into at some level of you, if you were to look back from 5 years, 10 years from now and not be able to see where you started, oh my God, I had a £2,000 business back then, and I was struggling to perceive how I could get to £4,000. And here I am right now doing $400,000 a year. And next year is going to be better. And the year after that's going to be better. And I can see how my business could grow. And if she wants to, she can easily, comfortably grow this business to £1 million plus. She's got to do it in 6 months. She won't do it this year. She won't do it next year. But over the not too distant future, she will be able to get her business from $400,000 to $1 million if that's what she chooses to do. And from $1 million, I tell you now, I can see how this woman could easily start to create a multi-million pound business in the future. From $2,000 a month, from $24,000 a year revenues. So I want you to think about this for a moment, right? A big part of what I'm about is inspiring people to level up. This whole podcast is leveling up. Leveling up through personal development, entrepreneurial development, so you can get the business growth that you want to have. You need to level up. You need to level up your business. You need to apply yourself over time. And time is one of the greatest tools, the greatest weapons that we have. Our impatience is one of the worst poisons that we have. 2 years, oh, that feels like ages. Well, guess what? 2 years will pass, and if you don't apply yourself for that 2 year period, you'll be pretty much where you are today. Apply yourself, grow, learn, develop, push, face the challenges, be creative, and in 2 years from now, you can look back and go, wow, man, that'll do. That'll do. And look at where I'm heading next year. Look at where I'm heading in 2 years and 4 years and 5 years and 10 years. The future becomes a possibility for you. Nice one, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day in order to tune in and hear what I've got to say. My commitment to you in return is to try and give you what I can through this medium in order to help you on your own business growth journey. If you are serious about growing your business, if you're serious about getting your own business on that fast track and taking yourself and your business to the next level, then please do reach out to us and check out what we're doing and how our environments are creating that result for our members. We have a number of groups specifically designed with you in mind, regardless of where you're at in your own business growth journey. If you're just starting out, we can help you, support you. We've got a group of people waiting for you to join them who are also on the same path that you are currently on. If you've been in business a little while, maybe you're doing 20, 30, 40, maybe 50K, and you want to take your business to that 100 grand or more mark in turnover, then again, we've got groups with those ambitious business owners in it just like you as well. And if you're already doing multiple hundreds or even just breaking that 100K mark and you want to take your business to the next level and you want to start to create that business that truly gives you the lifestyle that you wanted when you started out on your business journey, or you want to start to scale your business and start to create that business empire, then again, we've got groups that have ambitious business owners just like you with those goals in mind as well. So regardless of whether you're launching a business, building a business, or you're scaling your business, get in touch, reach out to us and let us share with you how we can support you on that journey and we can start to get you the sort of growth that we're talking about on this episode today. If you want to speak to us, then you'll find an email address for Tracy Miller, my partner in life and in business, in the descriptions of this episode. She would love to hear from you. If you're not ready to talk to us in person or you don't want to email us just yet, you just want to find out a little bit more about what we're up to, what we're doing and how we might be able to serve you, then go and check us out at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk. You'll also find a bunch of resources there to help support you. So go and check those out as well. I will see you here next time. As always, until then, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.